Welcome everybody to another 1 hour rebellion. This is your friendly neighborhood wombat here reporting for duty. Thanks for joining me. Been a little while. I have been enjoying summer. Hope everybody else here has too as well. Have a treat for you today. This is a game I played against my co-host here, Dubes, who goes by Chalky on Tabletop Simulator. If you guys have not yet done it, please join us on the Discord. The link's in the description line below. Find us on there. We're happy to chat. Dubes is a rule expert. I like to post memes and whatnot, so we'll be happy to see you guys there. You can see here we have a pretty classic deployment. Rebel Moncal, Rebel Naboo, Rebel RotE, Rebel Ryloth, and then Imperials kind of spread throughout with my kind of standard Death Star deployment on Coruscant. However, I woke up in a cold sweat a couple of days ago and decided I was going to start putting the Death Star on Mandalore from now on. So more on that a little bit later. So let's take a look out at this board layout. And if you're the Rebel player, think about where you're hiding the base. So you can see Dubes has got kind of a standard 3 infantry on Utapau. And somebody asked me the other day, they said, hey, Wombat, why is 3 infantry on Utapau a standard deployment? Well, the reason is a couplefold. One, if I run a gather intel as the Empire, I'm only pulling 2 probes if the mission's successful, because there's only 11 units in the base. So it's kind of an easy way to put some troops out, limit your exposure to gather intel, and keep the, keep a majority of the strength in your base. And I should point out here, Dubes is playing the Rebel RotE deck. I think he does this as a challenge because he beats me with the base deck, but he does an excellent job with the RotE deck, and the RotE deck is often maligned as the less useful of the two Rebel decks. I actually think the RotE deck can be pretty powerful. It is a little bit more mission dependent, I think, than the base deck. So, okay, he opens up with an infiltrate. He grabs, sorts through some missions. Tag goes and subjugates Moncal, which is, almost a necessity. You don't want to give him a second free Moncal. And then he also has Leia back to block. So you figure Mothma's on Build Alliance and Riken's on Sabotage. And now life is getting pretty bad because Riken is on Build Loyalty, which means Mothma is on her mission, which means now we got a mess on hand. So the question is, what do you do? Do you block Riken, or do you let him go through, and do you subjugate Corellia instead? So now I have some choices. I got to figure it out. I'm going to go ahead and move the Emperor to Naboo, or maybe I'm not. I guess I'm going to go ahead and move Vader to Utapau. Now, here's where you got to be kind of aware of the RotE deck, because the RotE deck features behind enemy lines, which is kind of like an Incite Rebellion, except for you have to pull units out of your base, but it's an automatically successful mission that can run on logistics. So not that he would do that there, but in theory, Mothma, because she has logistics, could have done behind enemy lines and taken out Vader there. Again, that would be a pretty crazy play, but so be it. All right, here's another thing to think about when playing against the RotE deck. So here I've got the Emperor on Naboo, right? So what did we just talk about? At the beginning of the next turn, the rebels could launch a behind enemy lines at a lone Star Destroyer in Naboo, take it out before it can get to Utapau, and boy, you're in trouble there. So, RotE deck packs a secret punch. You can't really do that with the base deck, maybe with an Public Uprising, but I don't know. Anyway, so I am sad because now build Q3 of the Rebels has a massive amount of Moncals and Nebulon frigates in it. That's a pretty tough thing to come back on. I would say established trade relations is one of the cards that you're most happy to see as a Rebel player to start off with. It's probably the equivalent of Tarkin's Fear Will Keep Them in Line, except for I never draw Fear Will Keep Them in Line, and everybody else always draws Established Trade Relations. So if you're ever feeling down, just find me for a game, play the Rebels, get Established Trade Relations. You'll have 3 Mon Cals on turn 1. It'll be great. Or, yeah, at least 2. All right. Enough whining for the day. So we're doing deployment. We're trying to buff up Naboo just a little bit, hoping he doesn't have behind enemy lines. Leia's back. Chirrut comes out to play. Don't love to see him. He's kind of secret good because he's got 3 diplomacy and 2 strength. So he can also run Established Trade Relations, believe it or not. I don't know how thematically that works, but okay, let's just go with it. You either have to have the most powerful Rebel Senate or Chirrut. So either one. Leia can't do it. Chirrut sure can. All right, enough of that. So I draw a diplomacy mission, which is nice. Also, I don't know. We'll see. I've got Secure the Plans, which is nice. Why is Secure the Plans nice? Well, if you look at the board state, the most exposed side of the board is Dantooine, Ilum, Dathomir. So you probably got to be thinking Rebel base in that location. However, there's also no Star Destroyer presence in the middle of the map, and the Death Star, when it moves around, can be a little bit vulnerable. So maybe this is a good opportunity to play trade negotiations, maybe on Mandalore or on Ord. I don't know. Anyway, the Star Destroyer attacks Utapau to try to make sure I don't get caught with the behind enemy lines. It can still get caught on Naboo with it, but chances are they won't take everything out. So, all right. Teg shows up. Got to kill these units. Do 2 damage. I actually think the right card there to play is the 501st and just eliminate one, which makes them roll less dice. It is pretty hard to kill all 3 of them just because chances are they're going to roll a heal. But anyway, roll a lot of hits. Dubes rolls no heal, so that's nice. They take out a trooper, got a couple of ATSTs left, and a healthy Star Destroyer in that corner of the map. Alrighty, so we are doing a reconnaissance. This is the other good combination of the Rebel RotE deck. If you have a reconnaissance and you play it on Established Trade Relations, you can just pull it right back up into your hand, so that's pretty cool. So I've got Yularen, so I'm actually going to try to block that. And when I say try to block that, I mean I'm just going to waste his action. They're going to get it back anyway. Okay, sad for me, but it is what it is. So just got to deal with it. All right. So anytime, let's talk about this. What do you do if the Rebel player gets 3 Mon Cals on the queue? Right? I just played a game recently. Well, we're going to hold off on that. That'll probably be the next video here that'll come out in a month or 2. Okay, so what do you do as the Imperial player when you see a ton of Mon Cals coming out on the board? You've got 2 routes you can go. One, you can rely on a laser to eliminate the base because Mon Cals can't kill a Death Star, but a Death Star has to move towards the base, which makes it vulnerable. Secure the Plans obviously helps out with that. Or 2, you need to run some missions and get probably Interdictor and or a Super Star Destroyer on the map. Interdictor gives you the ability to cancel their opening card. So if they don't have a Corvette in their fleet, you can open with an Interdictor and cancel the Mon Cal card. If they don't play the Mon Cal card, you can say no card next turn. If they do have a Corvette, now you have the choice of, they are pretty much going to have to play the Corvette card. So do you have to play the Interdictor card first? You don't. You could play Imposing Presence, try to keep the Interdictor alive, and then play the Interdictor the second turn. So anyway, lots of things to think about, but you have to start planning early when the Rebels have a big fleet on the board. So I've ignored the board state a little bit here. What did we do? We went ahead and we grabbed loyalty and Kashyyyk. I went ahead and played some loyalty to try to prevent regional aid from popping up. One of the things I talk about as in Imperial players, you really want to try to limit the rebels scoring level 1 objectives. It's pretty easy for them to score level 2 objectives, but you got to try to limit the level 1 objectives best you can. The base deck is not as good as the RotE deck for the Empire for mucking around with their objectives. If you're playing the RotE deck, you've got some torture missions that make them put missions back on top of the deck, and that can really slow up the pacing of the rebels down. Base deck is more just about imposing your will, which is much more the way I like to play. All right, round 3, spreading out some units. I did not get I did get a round 2 assault carrier. And I put that assault carrier on... Where did I put it? I don't know where I put it. I should be putting it on Megiddo is where I should be putting it, and then walking it around. I don't know. Maybe I didn't. Yeah, I don't actually know what's going on. All right, just ignore me. Here we go. All right, starting off turn 3. I got to figure out what to do here. Is this the time that you try to play Secure the Plans? Well, I could move a Star Destroyer to Dagobah, and that's a nice place to secure the plans if the base isn't there. Otherwise, I could maybe move Secure the Plan or try to do Secure the Plans in Yavin. When you run it, you want to try to move with a like with the Emperor, and then play it with Yularen. So you're rolling 5 dice against Leia if she tries to block it with 2, because that's a really important mission to go. Now, that being said, I don't. I keep Soontir back because I'm thinking maybe I can pull Leia off with a Rule by Fear, because maybe he's going to go for, loyalty and Celeste or something along that lines. I don't really know. I think the better move is to keep the Emperor back, assume he's going to keep Leia back to try to block Secure the Plans, and then stack up as much intel as you can in, probably Dagobah would be my guess. I don't think it would make a whole lot of sense to go to Tatooine and try it, because the base could be there. So anyway, I open up with a Secure the Plans, and I roll 3, and he rolls 3. And then that's just what happens. So... dice are dice, and you might have the advantage, but 3 dice to 2 is not that much of an advantage. Really could have used that 4th dice. So even though pulling a Star Destroyer to Dagobah puts everything out of position, I think it would have been worth it for Secure the Plans, especially considering that left-hand side of the board is so open. The RotE deck is not very good at grabbing objectives, right? If I get Secure the Plans down, they don't have a hidden fleet that they can use to pull it off. They pretty much have to use Strike Team or some sort of a tricky behind enemy lines retreat combo. There's also no hit and run to clean up systems. So if you can land that Secure the Plans, it's a really good situation. So anyway, so be it. Mothma runs trade relations to get another Corvette out on the playmat. So what does that mean? That means a couple of things, because there's no 3rd Mon Cal out on the map. So maybe it means they're planning on clearing off Mon Cal this turn with the behind enemy lines, or with Chirrut or something along that lines. I don't know exactly. I guess we'll see. Regan runs a contingency plan. And then we're on a build turn, so I got to try to limit rebel builds this turn. I probably got to cover Kashyyyk. It stinks because Riken with contingency plan can control the pacing of the turn and get that loyalty off, after my moves are down. So we'll have to see what he decides to play next. There's loyalty in Megiddo to flip that to subjugated, which is interesting. Maybe Chirrut is on a sabotage. I don't know. I'm going to run establish trade relations and plop that down on Ord, I think is the right move. Yep. And then Chirrut is, oh, yep, that makes sense. Chirrut is on regional aid, which there it is. So running regional aid in Bespin gets him both an objective and also, potentially a speeder, or forces my Star Destroyer out of position. So it's kind of a win for him. To me, why do I say out of position even though I don't have Endor? Well, because he could have ran regional aid on any number of systems to score it. He knew that pulling that off was going to cause problems. And here we are with raid outposts, which again, had I covered up Dagobah, secure the plans out there, and also dropped, I could have used that as an opportunity to drop one of these raid outpost markers there too. Instead, I have just open systems everywhere, which kind of stinks. Now, on the plus side, he's not likely to have a hidden fleet, but he hasn't played any starting action cards yet, and I'm assuming Riken is probably on his action card, which will let him get one of those objectives for free. And then if he does have lead the strike team, that's an easy second point there too. So, all right, not great. Lots of Moncals plus raid outposts, not a great combination, but that's okay. He did not score regional aid last turn, which I find kind of interesting. So why pull out? I don't know. We'll see. All right, I have two choices here. I have Jar Gerard or I have Boba Fett. I think I take Boba Fett. Yep, I do take Boba Fett, which is the wrong thing to do, because right now, as an Imperial, you need to be thinking, like, where are my weak points? And with a Star Destroyer sitting on Kashyyyk that might get Wookiee Uprising, my weak point is the left side of the map, which I only have the Death Star for, and I lost Secure the Plans. So think about what your weak points are and take the hero that's going to offset your weak point, which in this case would be Jar Gerard. So I can move the Death Star a little bit here. I can drop a shield bunker out in Ord, limp the Death Star over that way, maybe deploy a couple of assault carriers on top of it. That's a possibility. I also I do need to check Endor, but I have a Star Destroyer for that, so we're probably fine. Yeah, it's just not great. It feels like I'm in a bad spot without having more plastic on the build queue. So I should probably be running secret weapons research. Oh, fancy that. Okay, Mothma's on her action card. So think about that. The starting hand for the Rebels was so good, we didn't even play Mothma on Utapau turn 1. Whew, spicy. All right, fair enough. All right, so Rebels are deployed. Nobody's back to block. Oftentimes when nobody's back to block, it means Leia's on subversion. So that's okay. Got Boba Fett on a capture with a +2. Again, much rather, well, apparently not. Apparently I've got Boba on a regular capture. I think I might be forgetting my rules here, which are Leia's on subversion if there's nobody back to block. So why would I be on a regular capture instead of the +2? Seems like a bizarre decision here, so we'll have to see where I go. All right, infiltrate. So, at this point in the game, I'm not too worried about the Death Star because the level 2 objective is out already, which is raid outposts. Like, he's going to get another one coming up here soon, so okay, fine. Now I think what I'm doing during this turn is I'm really trying to assess what I need to do with this Star Destroyer, because the base could be, I guess it can't be in Kessel because I ran, it could be in Nal Hutta. It could be in Yavin, Dantooine, Dathomir. I mean, it could be in Alderaan, but that seems not quite right. I don't think it's in Endor. I also don't think it's in Dagobah. And I ran Yularen this turn up in the Ryloth area, which came back clean. So, I don't know. So I'm checking Endor because, frankly, this Star Destroyer needs to cover up that raid outpost. So, I need to make sure it's not Endor, so it's not Endor. This other Star Destroyer probably could check Dagobah, and actually checking Dagobah might have been the better first move. And Dubes has an excellent play here. After I move to Endor, he pulls up behind enemy lines in Bespin. Now, he could have done that in Malastare, but it's an easier pickoff in Bespin. And here's why. You can drop a transport there, and as long as I don't kill the transport in one turn, he can then just retreat and pick up that objective, right? So if you bring an X-Wing, I can't play the TIE Fighter card, which means I have to roll a crit. Now, it is 1 in 6 chance, so I think that's why he's thinking here, do I bring the transport or, do I bring something else? He goes just with the transport and says, I don't believe you'll roll a 1 in 6 chance here, Wombat. Which, he's might be right. We'll see. I'm definitely going to try, though, because we're talking about an objective here. So I probably should play Tractor Beam, especially since the Death Star is going to be needing to move on its own at some point here. But, I don't. So, okay. YOLO, no crit. TIE Fighter dead, Transport alive, X-Wing alive. He can play the transport card here to retreat. And then he can leave enough guys behind to take out my guy. So he'll leave 2 behind to free up Bespin. That'll get him a speeder build unless I waste a turn to go back there again. We both played combat cards. He canceled mine, so now he's got two rolls to my 1. He rolls 2 hits. I roll 0. Bespin has been liberated. That could score him an objective. Does it? I don't know. His mouse went over there. Probably did. I'm probably just fuming and not even looking at it right now. Silly Wombat tricks are for kids. All right. So cool move to get a raid outpost token there. And yes, that was a decisive victory. So that's why he didn't just open and do it on Malastare, also because he probably didn't want to get captured. But great move there. I mean, that was A+ type stuff. And I guess this is why I put Boba on capture, is I figured I would just move on top of Mothma and then capture her. I don't know about that. It seems like I got baited into something here when really I probably should have, because why wouldn't he just, whatever. All right. All right, let's see what happens. Leia's going to build alliance in Nal Hutta. That's interesting. Okay, fair. Yep, I give it to him. I think about what that move means for a while. Does he want me to move to Nal Hutta? Is Nal Hutta really the only reasonable place left? I don't know. I decide he's trying to lure me away. So I'm going to do the opposite of what I probably should do. And that's just, I'm going to consolidate into Mandalore. And this brings me back to my earlier statement of I'm going to start putting the Death Star in Mandalore because, the reality is it's right next to Yavin, which is a legitimate spot for the base. And it's 2 spots away from Dantooine, 1 spot away from Dathomir. Whereas in Coruscant, the Death Star is 1, 2, 3 spaces away from Yavin, 3 spaces away from everything, right? So it looks like it's in the middle of the map, but it's really not. So I'm going to start trying that, I think. Anyway, I'm going to roll with a Rule by Fear here for Tarkin. And we're going to do that in where? I guess maybe Malistaire would be my guess. I'm probably trying to keep him down on loyalty count, but maybe Toydaria. Okay, that's why Toydaria. I guess maybe I don't want him to behind enemy lines my. Interesting. And then Obi passes, which means Obi was on a rescue. That makes some sense. Okay, that was a good play for Wombat. I just waited out his rescue. I think his thought was, we'll put Mothma out there, she'll get captured, I'll free him with Obi, I'll get my objective. Still might. But at least this way I can play Subversion on it, maybe. Might not be a bad thing to be thinking about. Yeah. All right. Fair enough. All right. Let's see who my last leader is, or if I get any good probes. I got Detain. Detain's a nice card to have when you think you're getting pretty close to the base. No real useful probes. So we're left with Alderaan, Dagobah, Nalhutta, and the 3 remotes on the left side of the base, or on the left side of the map. Where do you think it is? Good question. I know where it is. Well, maybe I know where it is. Guys, it takes so long to edit these videos. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a labor of love getting these things done. So if you have not yet liked and subscribed, at least do me that, because that gets me a little bit of ad revenue. All this work, I think I'm probably 20, 25 bucks in. So, hey, I do appreciate that. I do buy my coffee at 7-Eleven for like $1.99, so it's probably like almost 14 cups of coffee, maybe less with tax. I appreciate that. You guys are cool. Thanks a bunch. I started this hobby during COVID, where it was actually for work-related reasons. I was like, I wonder how hard it is to make videos and edit and record voiceovers and all that, and it ended up, it's cool. I do it for work now too, so all good. All right, Subversion. I'm going to block this Obi mission. Then I'm going to bounty somebody, which is weird because I don't have any torture missions. So I don't really know. Like, let's be honest here. Do I care if the rebels have one other objective? Maybe. But I'm also either right next to the base in Nalhutta, or I'm 2 steps away from the base with a Star Destroyer. So, I don't know. Now we find out because Chirrut's attacking. So Yavin or Dantooine or Alderaan. Okay, fair enough. This stinks because even though I have a couple of capital ships, he has a couple more, and also Chirrut to wipe out the AC or the couple of troops or whatever he wants to do. So something really important here for Rebel players that I think often gets messed up. Note that he did not bring a bunch of starfighters. Okay. Oftentimes what happens is a Rebel player, including myself, because I get way too aggressive, will bring out the big boys, the Moncals, and then bring out like a Y-Wing or 2 Y-Wings or 2 Y-Wings and a U-Wing and ready to go, right? Let's rumble. Well, let's be honest. A Star Destroyer is not killing 2 Moncals. It's probably not even killing 1. 2 Star Destroyers might not even kill 1. All right, I'm being dramatic now. But, what am I going to play? I'm going to play stuff to try to keep my ships alive. So I'm going to play Imposing Presence. I'm not playing damage. So what am I, and with my TIE fighters out, if I roll 2 black hits or 2 black hits and a crit, I'm going to wipe your entire fleet of starfighters out, right? So that sucks. And there's almost no circumstance where I roll 4 crits to wipe out a Moncal. So don't waste your starfighters. He brought in 2 Moncals and a U-Wing. He is going to deploy an extra dude down there. Well, maybe he's not. So here's what he's thinking, probably. He's thinking, I need to kill that TIE fighter. Nope, he's not. He's just going for it. Why worry about anything if you're just going to roll crits, right? 1, 2 crits. Okay, he's got 3 damage on the Star Destroyer, I think. Yep. And I'm going to roll back, and I'm probably just going to kill the U-Wing, right? Because I'm going to roll for heals and everything else. So I do kill the U-Wing. I do heal a damage. Okay, fair. But imagine had he brought a Y-Wing. I would have gotten that Y-Wing killed too for no extra real benefit, because if he rolled another red, I would have just blocked it with imposing. So anyway, don't bring too many starfighters on your attack out mission. Write that down for this lesson. That's a good one to learn right there. All right, he's also wiping a AT-AT, which means maybe he's going to score crippling blow. I don't know. He's probably going to score something, though. Otherwise, why attack? I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. That's good. No heals. I should be rolling for a heal, I think. Oh, no, because I had 2 damage on the AT-AT. I wasn't going to heal it. Okay, that's probably crippling blow. Or maybe he's going for the Star Destroyer mission. Yep, that's crippling blow. Crippling blow, real cool to bring a snowspeeder in and just take out a AT-AT. I mean, especially if there's no AT-ST there to be rolling heals, and it's not a guarantee an AT-AT takes out a snowspeeder. We've all seen Empire Strikes Back. All right, so does he stay? Does he leave? I retreat. He doesn't have a level 3. Safety first. That's my only Star Destroyer in the area, so I can't really afford to just sit there and try to kill 2 Moncals with it. So, all right. So Mothma goes to Ryloth to kill that rebel unit there. Why? I don't know. What am I doing? It's like I'm so paranoid that Mothma's going to get rescued. But like he's got Chewie on the Falcon, he's got Obi-Wan on a rescue mission. Like, I mean, who cares? Who cares? I'm like obsessed. He's rolling 3 with a +2. I have Yularen, I have Jabba on Subvert, and I'm on a separate capture on top of all of that. So here I am debating over whether or not I'm going to use my troops for the... Like, guys, don't lose focus on what the deal is here. He could be in 3 different spots right now, and I have 3 different moves I can make, and I have a fleet that is undermanned. I should be moving something in a smart way. And imagine if I had Jar Gerard, right? Just protects the Death Star, move out to Ord, threaten those Moncals, maybe check, see if the base is on Alderaan. I don't know. Instead, I am subverting a rescue, which I did, which means he doesn't draw an objective. No, I didn't subvert the rescue. I just blocked the rescue. All right, fair enough. Like, why not use subversion there? What am I worried about? I'm not going to subvert Chewie. So disappointed in myself right now. All right, I am, and I think this move is valid. I think ruling by fear where the Emperor is good. You know, if they're on Dathomir, they could attack out again at that same Star Destroyer. If they have behind enemy lines, they could do that. They're trying to pull off a sabotage right now. You know, I'm subverting a sabotage with Vader and an extra dice for subvert. He's rolling 1 dice and I'm rolling 4. Oh, I get it. Yeah, that makes... Sometimes I don't even pay attention to what's going on with my own life here. All right. So I did all that to put Lure on Riken and then capture him. So I think, okay, I'm remembering what was going on here. My thought process was the game is actually closer than it looks. It looks like I have lots of turns, but I don't. I need to get some ships on the queue, I need to deploy them, and I need to pressure the rebel base. And I can't do that if he gets an extra objective from Obi-Wan, and I can get that if I successfully pull off a Lure, because it's going to short him 1 objective, push him back 1 full turn. Yeah, I guess that's what I was doing. I was saying, you know what, I'm gonna make minimal gains this turn in order to push him back a full turn. And again, imagine how much different this looks right now if I've got a successful Secure the Plains with Yularen and had not just tried to run a Roll by Fear with the Emperor instead. Like, could have had Dagobah checked off, could have had a secure Death Star rampaging around in probably in or near the Rebel base at this point. So, all right, fair enough. What is it that you do here with Tag? Where do you move? Do you move the Death Star to Alderaan with that little assault carrier? Do you go back and cover Bespin again so that they're not building an extra snowspeeder? That's what I do. I don't know if that's right or not, but that's what I do. All right. I mean, here's the thing. Speeders are hard to kill, and he's got a shield bunker in the base and everything. So, you know, I think this is valid. I think I probably could have let Mothma go. I think I probably could have let him draw that objective card. And I think I could have still pulled off the lure bounty thing that I did here. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, 2 Mod Cals facing off against a Star Destroyer next turn. I can deploy that AC and that TIE Fighter, that AC and that Striker there as well. That'll give me at least a, puncher's chance of maybe killing one over there. Depends on where the base is, because if the base is in Dathomir, you can just load a Y-Wing up too. Drop 2 more damage on the Star Destroyer and then cause some damage, flip the combat maybe. I don't know. We'll see. See what Lando decides to do. Building an alliance in Malastare, and if you missed it, Leia and Chewie cleared off Malastare with plant explosives. So, good move on them there. Regional aid, 6 loyalty, hard to stop that one. There's Tatooine and Bespin. Not super helpful. Did I play Yularen too early? I don't think so. I think it was important to know that Ryloth and Tatooine weren't it. It's just always disappointing when you end up drawing those probes later. Okay, so, what do we do? Do we try to run a homing beacon and determine... I mean, if you run a homing beacon on Riken, you know where the base is because he can't confuse you at that point. It's either going to put it in Alderaan or a central location or up in Yavin. All possibilities. So here, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bunker. I think I probably leave a bunker on the queue with the idea of deploying it when the Death Star moves somewhere. I deploy my fleet out in Megiddo to try to make it painful for the rebels to attack, even if they are on Dathomir. It'll also reveal where they are. I have Tag on Detain, which I like to do when I feel like the rebels are going to get feisty, because it's nice to pin their fleet in place after they attack. So for rookies or people that maybe aren't as familiar with Detain right now, the idea is if you attack and I detain your leader, you cannot move that group next turn. So Lando attacks Megiddo, okay, brings the 2 carriers, and does not bring anything else from the base. Seems odd. No, he does bring a Corvette from the base. Okay, so that means the base is on Dathomir. Okay, so not Alderaan, not Yavin. Good to know. Now, why bring a Corvette? Because he probably wants to play the cancel card, would be my guess. Probably wants to make sure I can't get that TIE Fighter card off first. I will put the Emperor out and I will play his card. to ensure that he's rolling as few dice as possible. So four reds instead of 5 and 1 black instead of 3. And, you know, he'll play the Corvette card most likely, so I'll play the Assault Carrier card. You know, that gets me an extra TIE Fighter, which is nice. And then if he cancels it, that's okay. That's not the strongest card in the deck. So, but it's strong enough where he would still want to cancel it because he's not rolling very many black dice. That'll mean I have a lot of TIE Fighters next turn. Yeah, I think canceling's right. And then next turn he can probably flip the combat. Oh, nope, he says no card next turn. So I'll roll in extra black. He will not roll a black damage, so I won't block that. So I think that works. I get my extra black dice. Maybe I'll roll a crit with it. Here we go. Let's pretend it's the top one. Yeah, doesn't do me a whole lot of good. But Emperor does reroll 3, so that's fun. All right, 1, 2, 3. Just need a single hit. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's cool. Take out a Moncal, lose an Assault Carrier. That seems completely legit. Still have all my dudes here, so if he stays, I'll play the TIE Fighter card. Oh no, I can't because I have no card this turn. That's okay. So he can flip the combat, and I will be rolling 3 dice, or 2 reds and a crit with the striker. So I have a pretty reasonable chance of killing the Corvette. I probably won't kill the Moncal. He's going to do 1 damage to the Star Destroyer instead of flipping the combat. And then roll 2 more hits. Okay, 3 more hits. That's okay. I've got a pretty good chance. I'm rolling 4 red dice to a heal because I've got my 2 reds and then my 2 rerolls. So that's okay. Should I have stayed? I don't know. Yeah, not so good maybe. Just need a heal. There's my heal. Okay. Better than 50% chance on rolling a heal there. Took out the Corvette as anticipated. And now he's got, you know, a little bit of a tougher decision. Does he stay or does he go? You know, I think about, yeah, it's all right. I decide to go for the Moncal instead because I think he's going to stay, and then I'll drop my 2 extra damage on the Moncal. So here's what's going on. He's trying to score Rebel Assault, right? And he's going to do it, but is giving up an objective point worth getting rid of the Moncal? Probably, because I have Assault Carriers on the queue and not Star Destroyers. Right? So Assault Carriers can handle, and I get the Corvette too. Assault Carriers can handle Starfighters and they can handle Nebulons. But they have a hard time with Moncals because you gotta get 4 red hits on and they're only rolling 1 apiece. So, you know, plus the Moncal card's only 2 cards away from cycling. So it just seemed like it was worth giving up the objective point that I gained last turn in exchange for wiping out that Moncal, and thankfully the Corvette as well. All right, he is going to rescue Riken there. No, he's not. I am going to capture Lando instead of Riken. So the reason I'm doing that is to try to prevent Lando from running his action card to independent operation, from clearing off people on Mandalore. All right, they're going to run an infiltration. So here's the thing. So, you know, you got to do an assessment of the board at this particular moment. So 1 Nebulon in base, 5 Starfighters, 3 more Starfighters on the queue, 3 more Nebulons on the queue, 1 more Corvette on the queue. Okay, I have 4 hit points of Assault Carriers and 4 hit points of Assault Carriers on the next deployment round and 1 more Assault Carrier further up. I really wish I had like a SSD on the queue right now, but I just haven't been running R&Ds. So, you know, wish it all you want or just run the mission and get it. I don't know. This assault carrier cannot come back home because he's got a block Nelhutta. So that makes sense. He's also got another Y-wing floating around there that I can't really attack. So I have to think about it and think how many turns do I have left? If I advance 2 turns, I think I have 2 or 3 turns left. And I'll know here at the end of this turn if he scores another objective or not. If he scores 2 objectives, I'll have 3 turns left. If he scores 3 objectives, I'll have 2 turns left. So the Death Star is 3 moves away from Dathomir. Okay. So maybe I pull that off. Maybe I pull it off. However, if he scores an objective at the end of this turn, then I only have 2 turns, and the only thing I can get there with is my assault carriers, 2 of which I have to deploy this turn, and I basically have to deploy them on my Guido, where I have some troops, and then maybe I deploy some other troops on and try to consolidate onto Mandalore and hope that they don't get wiped out by 3 Y-wings and 2 Nebulons. Oof, I mean, maybe it'd be a tough spot. Or I move the Death Star up and try to go with it. Now, here's the problem with moving the Death Star. We talked about behind enemy lines, right? And we talked about, Dodonna could be on playing the assault, right? So if I move the Death Star to Alderaan, he's not going to be behind enemy lines anymore. So if I move the Death Star to Ord, then, he could still have the assault planned against him. And it's Vader, so he's not blocking anything. So I decide I'm going to go to Alderaan for a few reasons. One, if I move to Alderaan, I'm going to block off Alderaan as a potential rapid spot. Second thing is I can move my assault carrier to Alderaan along with these extra TIE fighters. So, if he's, let's watch. So it is playing the assault. That makes sense. So there was no benefit to going to Ord. Now, maybe if I deployed that shield bunker to Ord and then moved to Ord instead, but moving to Ord, I don't know. Maybe that would have been the right move. So the assault gets planned. He's got 5 ships, and I've got a ton of dice I'm rolling 10 dice. And the attempt to blow up the Death Star is 50-50. So can I kill 5 starfighters in 2 turns with max dice with only 1 Nebulon card? Yeah, I can. I just need him to not roll a crit first round. So you want to do whatever you can to do damage here. So I'll go ahead and do damage. And then there's no 1 in a million, so I don't need to necessarily just survive 1 turn. So this is all good. Plus moving to Alderaan lets me get that assault carrier a little bit closer too. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Holy cow. Okay, 5 plus an assault carrier. All right. Well, that doesn't help things, but we'll do some damage back. So we've killed 3 starfighters. I probably should be rolling a black dice, but maybe not. All right. So some damage. 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. He can bring 2 of them back with the Nebulon card. And then if he rolls, here's the thing. If he doesn't roll his 50-50 here, then I'm in good shape for wiping out that next round of starfighters, right? So moving to Alderaan, 50-50 chance. I think that was my better move than just relying on assault carriers, but he does roll a crit, which wipes the Death Star, which is unfortunate. So now I have a challenge here where he can choose to stay or retreat. And I should, if he decides to stay, I should be retreating to I should be retreating to Mandalore right now, but I think I am. Do I retreat? I should be retreating. I think I am just lamenting my life choices right now with how things work out sometimes. Yeah, I think the right move here is to retreat to Mandalore, because I can retreat to Mandalore and then deploy there and deploy in Megiddo and then regroup my units. Oh, well, yeah, I don't know. I don't really know. All right, so he's going to kill the assault carrier here. I'm going to re-roll, try to get a couple more hits, wipe those units. Don't get to do that because he's not the Emperor. Nope. Okay. Well, now I'm stuck. I think he's worried about track them. So maybe he's just staying, and maybe I'm just saying, okay, that's fine, I'll beat you. All right. All right, he rolls one hit, misses on his second, and I think I finish off the starfighters here. Maybe I'm thinking I just deploy onto Alderaan and then move all these units out from there. Yeah, I don't know. I think retreating to would have been a good move, because now I don't really have the presence to take it over. What do I need to do to win here? I need to get stuff to Dathomir. All right, we'll see. Detaining the old man who just blew up the Death Star, I guess. Seems okay. And maybe instead, I don't know who else I should detain instead. Chewie passes. Tarkin runs R&D. So my plan was I run R&D and pull a laser. Let's see if I at least got a laser. I did get a laser. So, okay. Yeah. I don't know why I didn't retreat. Retreat would have been, I think, a nifty move, because then I'd have a good ground force out there and force an attack. I mean, he might wipe the assault carrier that I'd deploy there, but I'd have two, so that would have been good. Interesting. All right, let's see how the rest of this plays out here. Got nothing great. I have to not let him score this turn, deploy, and then kill him next turn. So I should probably be playing Interdictor here. Maybe, where to put those guys. Yeah, imagine had I retreated those AT-STs up to Mandalore and then deployed those last two assault carriers with my third assault carrier there, and then had 3 assault carriers and 3 AT-STs there. That's a decently formidable force for what's left in the Rebel base there. I mean, I'd be a little bit on my heels because I couldn't deploy a leader there to attack, but I think I'd have a nifty enough plan. So anyway, now my plan is to move to Mandalore, consolidate, and then attack next turn is the goal here. You can see Chewie and Riken are on a mission, which is probably lead the strike team and probably going to do it on a circle or on a square is my suspicion. Something to score that last point. When I deployed, I tried to spread out best I could to cover my square systems, but there's too many vulnerabilities. There's only so much I can do. So I got to keep Vader back to block, or Boba back to block. If I had Subvert, and if I wasn't, I think I played Subvert in an okay spot. So, yep, I check my cards, make sure there's nothing else I've got that is nifty. And then I don't have a whole lot to throw him back a turn either. So I've got the Emperor on a loyalty mission trying to keep their loyalty count down. I think if I remember right, they're pretty close to uprising loyalty at this point. So, just trying to hedge my bets best I can. But let's see what they got. Maybe I pull off a block here and then the game might be over fairly quickly after that. The other thing you need to think for late game is you got to make sure the rebels don't have 5 spaces they can get people out on. So I feel like at this point what I'm thinking is, well, I'll keep Vader back to block. If maybe they're on a no one left behind 2nd level mission on there too, so maybe I need to run a capture too. I could run a block with Boba. I don't know. I don't really know what's going on here. I should just assume Yularen's going to block a rescue and then not worry about recapturing somebody. All right, let's see what they got. They have... Oh, lead the strike team. Oh, I missed that. Chirrut was on there too. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Lead the strike team to get to the last objective that's uncovered there. So we'll try to block it with Vader. 2, and they roll 3, and that's game. So 1 guy to pick up the objective, and the game is over. Now, in theory, again, I know I've said it before, but you got to think about your opportunities to retreat. Part of the reason I brought that out to the Death Star's location, that assault carrier to the Death Star's location, was extra transport, right? So maybe he runs that there, and then my follow-up is 3 assault carriers into a single Corvette and a Nebulon. So could have done that. It is disappointing to lose a Death Star, that's for sure, but it's more disappointing to lose your brain 3 hours into a long game. And then, anyway, he's also had Threaten the Core was his other one on there, and Show No Fear. So yeah, could have pulled it off. But let that one slip. That just goes to show you, man, like, you can be dominating a game. I think I was really dominating that game up until the Death Star cracked, and then I just lost my focus there for an instant. Now, Dubes played a great game. He's one of the best players on the server by a long shot and can beat the best Imperial players with a RotE deck, which is amazing. So, I never feel terrible when that happens. I get frustrated loss after loss after loss, but, that which does not kill you, right? Tell that to the Death Star. All right, guys, thank you for watching. I have been on a War of the Ring kick, competing in the tournaments that have been going on there. Hoping that once school starts, I'll have a little more time here to knock out some extra videos. I'm planning on releasing them, I think, in a season format is my idea coming up here. So more on that later, and maybe I'll work a couple of these shorts in here too. So thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you guys. Please like and subscribe. Check out these other videos.